Nick Hawkins outside the London Stadium, West Ham Fan TV. Post-match reaction. We haven't got the facility for a post-match pint tonight. West Ham 3, no, West Ham 2, Southampton 3.
I wished.
Starting line-up, Scott?
Fabianski in goals, Masuaku left back, Kufal right back, Dawson and Diop centre halves, Rice, Soucek in the middle, Vlasic, Bowen, Fornells, and Ben Rama as the attacking four.
Now, I'm not going to mince my words here. That was shit.
Yeah, it looked like a few of them had been on the old sherry last night, Christmas. No, it was terrible, mate. From start to finish, there was, especially the first half, a bit of improvement in the second half. First half, we were terrible. Couldn't get hold of the ball. Looked like players didn't want to get on the ball, were hiding. Big game for Vlasic today. Not saying he played poor, but I just wanted a little bit more. There was times where he wasn't showing for it. Players like him we need on the ball. Ben Rama, terrible first half. It's just one of them. It's probably the worst performance I've seen at London Stadium for a very long time. We've been spoiled.
I think we're starting to get into the territory now, mate, where we're saying that more often than we should. It's the worst of this and it's the worst of that. We've got a problem, and I'll tell you what the problem is. It's the defence. And it's not just the defence, but there's too many fringe players in at the same time.
The thing is, we've had the heart and soul ripped out of our back line, haven't we? We've lost Zuma, we've lost Ogbonna, Creswell, who looks like he's going to be a long-term injury as well now. Soufal's just coming back. Johnson's only just coming back. So if any team in the Premier League, you take away their starting back lineup, they're going to struggle.
The thing is, we are so void of any confidence. You see that. Players are not confident. Players don't trust each other. Players are hiding. When you look at the first half performance, I thought Vlasic was one of our better players in the first half, and he didn't have the greatest of games.
I agree with you. When I said about Vlasic earlier, he did have a great, good game, but there was times where he should have looked for it and shown for it, and he didn't. It's like he was, like you said, hiding a little bit.
But also, when you look at Masuaku, you look at Ben Rama, when they're confident, they take players on. How many times today did they get the ball and look to come back? They didn't look. There was a moment in the first half where Ben Rama played the ball into Fornells. Fornells went to play the ball back to Ben Rama. Ben Rama looked at him and said, "What are you giving me the ball for?" It's again that final third, and this has been the worry for me for a long time. Our decision making in the final third is shocking. Absolutely shocking, and that is why we're in the position we are. We can't keep turning up and putting in performances like we did in the second half against Spurs, like we did here against Chelsea, like we did here against Liverpool, and then getting rolled. We just got beat, and we just conceded 3 goals to Southampton. Southampton, one of the worst teams in the Premier League, they've just stuck 3 passes at home. It's a fucking joke. And I get what you're saying with the injuries and all that to the back line, but these are players who, in European games, have stepped up to the plate, who have performed well in European games. What was that today?
I do agree to a certain extent, but as Ryan was saying, I think, you get the heart ripped out here. The worrying thing for me is how easy the goals were today. Yeah. The first one, no one around him. Strike it. He's inside the penalty box. He's got time to fucking strike it in the corner. No one closing him down. The second one, look, we'll talk about the VAR and the refereeing in a minute, but I'm sure. But there was a mistake by Diop initially. He's got caught ball watching or got caught underneath the ball again, which he does so many times. And Dawson's never going to catch him, and he's always scrambling to catch him. And then the third one, I've never seen anything so simple in all my life. And you've got time to set yourself, and it's worrying. It's worrying to see how many times, especially seeing as we're meant to be billed as these set piece kings, how many times we're conceding stupid goals like that now.
The thing for me is the excuse of having the whole back line out worked for the first couple of games. This is now what, fifth game?
Just because they're not good enough though.
But full 5th game we haven't had our out-and-out back four, like our starting back four. Like, granted, yes, Soufal's coming back, so you can sort of say, all right, he's got a bit of an excuse. But at the end of the day, this isn't the first time this back four have played together. Yeah, these players have all played together in training. They've worked together all through training without the players that are injured. We can't keep using that excuse. The players are just not good enough in the positions that they're playing. Like as we were saying when we were talking before at the fan camps, when we lose one, Dawson coming in playing alongside Zuma and Bonner's fine. Diop coming in playing alongside Zuma and Bonner's fine. When they come in and play together, this is where we've got the problems. This is where we're now really got to sit down and think, where do we really need to strengthen in January if we've not got a Bonner and a Zuma's going to be out for a little while longer?
Yeah,
I mean, a big signing.
Yeah, I mean, look, Masuaku for me, people know my feelings on Masuaku. I don't like him. He can live off that Chelsea goal for the rest of his life. I don't think he's good enough for West Ham. I really don't. I've been saying that for a long time. I like him going forward. Defensively, he's shit. He can't defend anything.
It's not only that, right? You pair that up with Diop, who again gets caught out too many times playing on the same side. I mean, Cresswell and Zuma is a solid partnership. When you've got them it's like jelly. It's like rock and jelly. That's the difference between the two of them. It's so flimsy, and you could see Southampton identified that early. They kept on going over that side because they knew they was going to get joy over there, and it's just shit.
I mean, me and Scott said it before the game. I mean, we looked at that starting lineup and we're thinking, well, why ain't Johnson starting at left back? I'd rather have Ben Johnson now because I've got trust in Ben Johnson.
I said to you, mate, Fredericks is sitting there. Is Fredericks that bad that he can't get in front of Masuaku? Right, yeah, Masuaku's left-footed, Fredericks is right.
You could get in front of Masuaku.
But you know, Fredericks has done a job that he's come on and played there before.
Yeah.
You know, Johnson, all right, look, Johnson's came back from injury. He played the other night. We can sort of understand, especially with the amount of games in a short space of time, we've got Johnson not starting in this one. But Fredericks was on the bench against Spurs. Fredericks again on the bench today. Surely you must be fit enough to at least start the game.
Yeah.
You know, use the players that we've got. If you've got no trust in them, long them off in January.
Yeah.
But this is the problem. When you've got, problems like that, you just see it sap everything out of everyone else. You know, Rice all of a sudden, he's looking to his left because he thinks, I can't fucking cover this now. Souček, I keep on seeing people slag off Souček. Souček ain't been the greatest, but he ain't been the worst. Not by a long shot. I don't know why we keep on identifying Souček as a problem.
The thing is with Souček is that he's done so well for us since he's come into the club. As soon as he has a bit of a dip of form, people are going to pick up on it because they expect him to be like week in, week out. Declan Rice, if Declan Rice went 3 or 4 games having poor games, which will probably never happen, let's be honest, but there'll be people getting on Declan Rice's back. People have done it for years. As you said before we come on, there's always got to be a scapegoat. And people might think, oh, Masuaku's mine. But I'm not. I'm just saying what most people feel about Masuaku. I don't think he's good enough to play for this football club. Yeah.
And the thing is with Souček, right, look, there's a coincidence with Souček's form and the fact that Rice moves a lot further forward than what he used to. Yeah, we relied so much on Souček getting into the box last season, making them late runs into the box to put the ball in. We're playing without Antonio up front tonight. Yeah, and same against Spurs, play without Antonio up front. Right, we've got Bowen. There's no height. We've got no height in our front line. So release Souček to get into the box.
Declan Rice doesn't do that.
No,
so as you say, release Souček to do it. Yeah, it's bang on.
And that's the thing. And that's why I think people are picking out on Souček for having a poor game, because you've got to start Declan Rice. Declan Rice is available, he starts. Because he's the best midfielder we've got in this football club. But because of Rice now carrying the ball forward, leading the team forward, it sort of isolates Souček a bit. He can't get as far forward as what he did in last season. And that's why I think we're seeing a dip of form, because Rice has excelled so much more and is carrying the ball a lot more forward. It sort of nullifies Souček. What we need to do is, when we haven't got the likes of Antonio up front and that height in the box, find a way of freeing up Souček to get into the box, whether it's changing the system, whether it's bringing another centre midfielder in to play alongside Rice and Souček. Having that deeper line, changing the system. That's what we're not seeing. We have been poor the last few league games, and there's not been a change of system. Do you know what I mean? There's not been a look, right, let's mix things up a bit. We're very predictable in the way we're playing.
You get worked out.
Yeah, and that's what it is. And look, we can make excuses all day long about the penalty, but the performance level today, especially in the first half, wasn't good enough.
No. Let's talk a little bit about the penalty. That was never a penalty.
I haven't seen it back on the replay, but from what I see, like on my phone after the game, but when they showed it back on the screen, I didn't think it was a penalty in real time. I still didn't think it was a penalty when they showed it on the screen. I don't know what the referee's looking at. I mean, these are Premier League referees. They're meant to be the top referees in the country, and if he's looked at that straight away and thought, no, that's not a penalty, then he should stick with that decision. When you go and look at it on the screen in slow motion, of course it's going to look like Dawson's fouled him and pulled him down because they're watching it in slow motion.
I think he did though, right?
No, he sort of fell into him, and the Southampton players going down as well.
They're both going down.
Exactly.
They're both going down. They're both stumbling. He's trying to get across him. The Southampton player's stumbling because he's trying to go across. They've stumbled over together.
Would you have, right now, if that shoe was on the other foot and that was Antonio in that position and Southampton's centre half, would you have said that was a penalty?
100% penalty. I'm joking.
But do you know what I mean? That's how.
No, I know.
That's what you got to ask yourself. If you feel that if that was your attacker and that was a penalty, then it's a penalty. But for me, whatever way round, that's not a penalty.
Yeah, if we sat there and you're right, if that was Antonio, we'll all be screaming penalty, penalty, penalty. But then if we looked at it, we'd probably think, that was a bit harsh.
Yeah.
You know, maybe that weren't a penalty. But I mean, I didn't even really see the Southampton players claiming for it at first.
Yeah. It was, and you are right. When you go to the screen and look at it, and you look at anything in slow motion, it looks worse than what it was.
Of course it does.
Is that more of a penalty today than what happened to Dawson against Burnley?
At Burnley, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what you've got to look at, the inconsistency of VAR. It's time now you put ex-players looking at VAR. Have an ex-player alongside a referee and say, look, he hasn't deliberately took that player over. He's lost his footing, he's fallen over, he's fallen into the player, which has then tripped the player up. It's not a penalty.
But then, Scott, the referee, it's not. You don't even really need ex-players to say that. The referee should look at that and think, yeah, it's not a penalty. It's the coming together of two players. If that was in the middle of the park, that would probably played on.
And that's the thing. That is the big thing about it.
He did play on.
Yeah.
No,
but I mean,
telling him,
also, is that a clear and obvious mistake that the referee's made there? A player's fallen over into the other player.
I've even heard people say, people who've seen it back, saying it wasn't even the first contact, wasn't even inside the box.
No, first contact was outside.
It was outside the box, and the momentum took him in the box, and that's when Dawson's lost his footing, and he's gone over. It's a coming together of two players. It happens all over the pitch all the time. But yeah, today, look, it was never. As soon as he runs over there, you know they're going to give a penalty because referees love that moment in the spotlight. Look at me, I'm looking at the TV. Everyone's eyes on me. Usually, Mike Dean loves that. That's his moment. But now this referee's had his moment.
Have you ever seen a referee go over to the TV and not give it?
Yeah. There has been referees. I think
very rarely.
Yeah,
it does happen.
Yeah, there has been. I can't think of his name now. He's a younger referee. Is it Michael Oliver? Am I getting the right one there? I can't think of his name. But there has been referees that have overturned decisions as well. But I just, it's and as you said, mate, their third goal was a simple ball in the box. What Southampton done today, they done everything, all the simple things they done right, and that's why they're taking the 3 points. And we're sitting here now, an hour after the game, freezing cold, moaning.
I ain't going to take you away though. Ward-Prowse, that ball into the box was a good ball.
He's a class player.
No, he's one of the best in the league at what he does.
Why we've never ever tried to get him away?
We couldn't afford him, Scott.
He's a 50, 60 million pound player. He is, just because of the delivery and the free kicks and set pieces alone. To us, he'd be invaluable. We couldn't afford him.
I was saying to people around me when originally and said I thought the first contact was outside the box for the penalty. I was sitting there thinking, maybe it's a bit of an advantage if you get in the corner because obviously getting the ball up and over a wall at that close range. Now I remember they had Ward-Prowse, who was a sort of player that could. He's got the ability to do that. But
I mean, positives from today. Antonio's back on the score sheet. Benrahma scored. There was, especially in that second half, there was some flashpoints in there where we did improve. I thought Bowen had a decent game. I thought once again people think I pick on him, but Yarmolenko, I mean, he come on the pitch and he always looks to me like he's carrying a transit van on his back, running through treacle. He just looks like he can't do anything.
It's just the play. It's just the way he is.
He's give up.
No, I don't.
He has his give up.
No,
I've said to you many a times, he looks like. You remember when you was younger, you used to play over the park with your mates, and they had an uncle who say, I used to be semi-pro, and he'd come on and he's absolute shit. That's the Yarmolenko. That's Uncle Dave.
Yeah. I feel like he feels like he's running in a dream. One of them dreams where you just can't run. That's him in real life. He cannot do it.
And do you know what the frustrating thing is? He has got the talent now. We've seen it for Ukraine. We've seen glimpses of him. Not many, but we've seen glimpses of him here.
I just think now it's just too late for Yarmolenko. The Yarmolenko we signed, who started getting a bit of form, started looking good, picked up that injury. We've not got that Yarmolenko now. We've got the Yarmolenko who is too old for the Premier League. Yeah. He's just too old for the Premier League. It's all it boils down to.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we move on now. We've got Watford in a couple of days, and honestly, we need 3 points there. A point ain't good enough.
Listen, you think our squad's decimated now? We lose Declan Rice for that game. That game is very important now.
Moyes has got a big decision to make. A big decision to make. Who replaces?
He's getting Noble,
which is the cop out for me. It's a cop out. That's the easy pick, putting Noble in.
I mean,
he
obviously,
needs to trust Krul a bit
he
more.
doesn't trust Krul. I don't know why, because I feel when we've seen him, he's looked half decent. Give him a run. Maybe play him alongside Souček. Obviously, they play together for Czech Republic, so give him a chance. You know, maybe Moyes needs to mix it up a bit. Maybe bring Krul in with Souček. You know, Johnson coming in for Masuaku.
But also look to change things up a little bit. Look to mix things up. You know, the thing is as well, you've got.
I thought Lanzini looked good when he came.
Yeah, he changed the game for me.
He doesn't have to create Krul or Noble. You can put Lanzini in there.
Yeah.
You know, again,
he's played there before.
You isolate Souček going forward, as we were saying with Rice, but put Lanzini in there.
He's
then
very
you've
proactive.
You've got Benrahma, Fornals, Vlasic, or Benrahma, Fornals, and Bowen with Antonio up top.
We need a win. A point ain't good enough at the moment. The thing is, if we get a defeat at Watford, then you know you're just going to start looking down the table. And for the last however how long now, we've been looking up. You know, and the results haven't gone our way today. Spurs got a win. Arsenal got a good away win at Norwich.
We needed that Norwich game.
I'll be honest, mate. Norwich probably would have turned us over here.
But not being funny, mate. I think
Norwich won us.
Teams.
Let's probably go there. We needed that West Ham game.
Teams now are benefiting from COVID. You know, Spurs had 3 games off, coming to play us in the cup, and then they're fully free. They've had a pre-season. You know, there's been no proof provided what players had it, what players didn't. You've got other teams who have called off games now. Watford have had their game called off today. We've had to play. Then we go and play Watford in 2 days' time. So Watford have had a break. Look, this, you know, right, there are people out there who are really ill from.
Should they have just shut it down?
They should have done. Because teams now are going to gain an advantage. You look at when these games are going to be replayed. They're going to be replayed after January, after teams have had the opportunity to bring new signings.
Yeah.
Look, you don't want nobody.
Shit.
You don't want no one catching COVID. You don't want no one getting ill. You don't want no one passing away. You know, that's part of parcel. But I think if you're dropping games, drop the lot. Have a circuit breaker, stop the games.
It's not 1 or 2, is it? It's a lot now, isn't it? About 10 or 11 games.
The thing is, three games today out of the full fixture list that was on. So just drop the lot because teams are going to get.
With this new variant, obviously, you know, you have to isolate for 10 days. So have a 2-week break, 3-week break. If you've got it, then it clears it, doesn't it?
Exactly, and that's what it is. It's come down to this is typical Premier League.
But
it's money over player safety.
Well, I said the same thing the other day. You see, you know, I said to you when they went into the meeting, they're 100% going to do this because they're losing too many games now, blah, 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 and all of this sort of thing. They come out there and it was like, they've decided against it. I mean, what morons decide against something like that? Because it's not that. It's because as you say, money over fans, right? Money over this, money over anything, right? Because you're going to have people going up to Liverpool, up to fucking Manchester, and then all of a sudden they're going to go, oh, they've got COVID. We have to call it all off.
The only other answer you got as well is you have to go behind closed door again. But, you know, because how can you sit there and say about players, but then you allow 60,000 people to sit in the stadium and mix and that and
breathe all over them.
And then like I know it sounds stupid, but the ball goes in the crowd, that throws it back to the player, and then
that's not stupid, right? That's sensible.
The thing is, when you look at Spurs had their games called off. I think Leeds Everton was still meant to play. Everton had 13 players, 3 goalkeepers in that inclusion of 13 players, like first team players, plus players who are coming back from long-term injury, who over the course of these 3 games probably would have played 1 game. Do you know what I mean? It's not looking. I said this before. When you're looking at the World Cup next year, with everything that's gone on over these past 2 years, 18 months, sorry. There's no thingy of player welfare. There's no worry about it. We're flogging the players and making the players perform, and we'll go out there when they need a bit of a break.
I'll be honest, Scott, I think it's stupid that you play on the 26th and the 28th when the 29th's free. Give them an extra day's rest.
Exactly.
I mean, take away the COVID, that's just ridiculous there again. I mean, I don't really agree a lot with Jurgen Klopp, but he was bang on what he said there. You know, to play on the 26th, have a day off and then play again, that's not right.
26th, 29th and then the 1st isn't much difference to playing Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday.
Yeah.
You know, it's not massively different into
exactly.
If you're playing into Europe, that's what it is. But we're just falling foul with that, and as I said, other teams are going to gain an advantage.
It soils the competition, in my opinion.
It does. You can't. Look. If you lose a game,
Does it matter? I mean, when you look at the whole, the whole thing as a whole, trying to when COVID first kicked in, trying to charge fans to watch the games and all that, and they had to backtrack that. If you look at it, it's not a competition.
No.
It's not a competition. It's we want to win who we want to win. We want to make as much money as we can. The competition is the very last thing they think about. The very last thing.
Exactly.
No, I'm sorry. It's the second from last thing, because the last thing they think about is the people that go and watch the games.
Yeah, exactly, and that's it. Look, if you sit there and look at what they would have lost, Amazon would have lost the whole of the fixtures on the 28th. This is why the Premier League.
Well, now they know how to feel when they don't deliver our parcels on time.
This is the thing. This is the whole thing of the Premier League pushing through that these games. Watford, their game against Everton got called off. They were told they have to play West Ham on the 28th. If you're ill on the 26th. Chances are you're still going to be.
I mean, if there's a full fixture list and one game gets called off, you can understand. But when you start getting 6, 7, 8, 9 games getting called off,
3 today out of what? Full fixture list 7. 3 out of 10.
Yeah,
3 out of 10.
30%. That's a lot.
Exactly.
Good quick maths.
Yeah, but that is where they should be stepping in and saying, look, this is silly. Let's just scrap today. Even if you scrap today,
I fucking wish they did.
But that's, people will sit there.
Start again from now.
But people are going to sit there and say, "Oh, you're only saying that because you lost." No, I was thinking this way back when we lost, when we played Burnley. Burnley. It's just everything started picking up with COVID and all that.
It's not that, because you're going to get that. I mean, we've only missed one game through COVID, Norwich, but there's going to be other teams that have 4 or 5 games that they've got to squeeze in now, and it's just more midweek games, and it's like fans that would have gone to Liverpool on a Saturday have now got to do that on a Wednesday or a Tuesday.
Exactly. Look at Palace. Palace, as far as I know, haven't had a COVID outbreak. They had their game called off today because the team they were playing had COVID. They come in at the 28th. They're an advantage to the team they're playing on the 28th because the team haven't played. All right, you could sit there and say, well, it's the same as if it's a game called off because of weather. Yeah, fair enough. But like you said, 30% of the game's getting called off.
It doesn't happen, does it? That's it. But
and it's terrible.
Yes, it is what it is. I suppose you have to take it. But anyway, thank you very much for joining us on this edition of West Ham Fan TV's post-match reaction. We hope you had a Merry Christmas and this didn't dampen your spirits too much. If you're new around here, subscribe, click the bell icon so you get notified of all of our videos. And once again, I suppose for the last time, one thing left to say.
Come on. Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell.